Baby, you know what time it is. It's Studio Johnny Q time. That means it is time to drop your nerd drawers, baby. I don't know exactly what that means, but I'm sure it's sexy.
Hail and well met, fellow time travelers. I am Johnny Q. This is Studio Johnny Q, and since it's Tuesday, it is addition through distraction time. So that means that on the Computron, through the tin can wire, we hopefully have Randomness with us. Randy, you there?
Hello.
Hey! Alright, it worked. Yay! And we got Mr. Mustard joining us in chat. Welcome.
What's up, Mustard?
Welcome. Running late, had some errands that we had to do. We had some things with car shops and stuff and dropping off cars and picking up cars and things like that. So had to kind of make that adjustment as the schedule's allowed. So sorry for the delay, but we are ready to get going today. Rhymed. We're in good form if we're already rhyming. It means it's got good timing. Watch out if you have a hymen. I don't know. See, we already lost it. All right, let me see here. I'm going to try to.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thunder, Thundercats. Ho! Yeah, this line though is dope. They have one now that's on. I think it's Iron Studios. They have this X-Men statue thing. You know, I get these ones that are like Diamond Select. They're like, you can get them for like $35, $50. And, you know, that's what most of ours are around here. But whatever they're making these statuettes, they're like $2,000. But it's a Sentinel with all the X-Men fighting him simultaneously. And like one of them, it's even Cyclops Wolverine doing the fastball special, which is where Colossus throws Wolverine. And so the Sentinel actually has a hole in his chest from the fastball special with Wolverine coming out the other side. It's dope.
Nice.
If I had an extra $2,000 lying around, maybe, but it is cool. It's so cool and it's so expensive. It's just like, I have to figure out how to make that, I think. We have to get cheaper components and recreate this ourselves. So, today on our agenda, I have, Randy, the board from our last session. I haven't taken it down yet. So I need to do the recap of it and then take down the board. So that'll be a big portion of today. Have a few other items that's coming to the shop that we could share as well. So it'll be recap. It will be, first it's going to be the recap. Then we're going to tear down the board. And then we're going to put back the studio. And then we'll go from there, see what kind of time we have. So, and then somewhere in there we'll work in a mental health minute. Today's mental health minute is Friends. That's the teaser for the mental health minute for today. And this kind of general topic of conversation, Randy. Just had our 49th birthday last week. Want to thank for everybody who gave us support. And so kind of want to talk about birthdays and that whole thing. So, because I don't know if they remember, there's a Friends episode. I think it's Rachel. She's turning, I don't know, I guess she'd have to be turning 29. And she was talking about how 29 is worse than 30. Are you familiar with this concept? Is this a concept we've discussed before?
I've heard similar concerns before, but I don't recall the Friends episode.
Okay. Well, that's where it first became, I think, put into my consciousness. And I have to agree, it's like, because it's like, this is the last year of 40, so you're evaluating what you did through your 40s. You know that 50 is coming, so you've got that impending doom. So it's all the fun of a Sunday night, you know, when you're dreading going to school in the morning, that kind of deal. And yeah, I kind of, and you know, we're in a very weird time now because of social isolation, and then I'm in a very unique situation with my employment here. So it's like, yeah, it causes for moments of inner reflection, but we're on the other side of it. I have a better perspective of it now than I did, say, a week ago. And so that's
a lot of
good. I'm going to work on reassembling the board a little bit before the recap.
Oh.
Go ahead, please.
You're hearing a lot of stuff now within the last few years about people saying, 50 is the setting free, which we've already experienced in our 40s. A bit of the you know what, screw that shit. I don't have time for that anymore. I'm just going to not care about all that stuff that was weighing me down anymore and just try to, live my best life, sort of thing. And they're saying 50 is the real kickoff point where they just totally felt free. And then some people in their 60s are saying even more so, it just kept getting better in a way.
I think my metaphor for this, Randy, at the other workstation, is that 40 is the first middle finger and 50 is the double bird. That's when you really, it's the double bird. It's the guy in Office Space when he goes, after the girl gets fired. Who, again, was Jennifer Aniston. It's all coming back to Jennifer Aniston. There's only so many data points that you can have in the holodeck at any time. So, all right.
Before you realize the answer to the universe is actually Jennifer Aniston?
Well, no. I'm thinking it's like that, that in a holodeck that you can only have so many data points, and that's why we keep having all these synchronous moments. Is because it's like when you were playing original Nintendo, right? 8-bit would greatly limit the number of collars that you could use, right? And 16-bit meant you could use more collars and more collars. So it's like, that's what it is. It's like there's only so many collars that you can have, so you're limited to what you can do. And so you have to make these tricks to make the sandbox seem bigger than it actually is. Going up? Go ahead. Sorry, Cooper's requesting to leave. Nice.
Cooper!
I digress. He's been in and out, in and out, in and out. All right. So let me get I gotta get all the cameras working. I'm missing.
Did you say there was something going on with Jax?
There's always something going on with Jax. Why?
Maybe I dreamt it. I can't remember what it was though. Something to do with Jax.
He's had a thing on his arm, but I don't think I've talked to you about that at all. So yeah, you might have dreamt it. Let me see if I can do an M50 camera angle here so I can get the M50 working. Should be able to do this. Yeah, and I had this joke that ennui, which is one of my favorite words, is French for 40, but which is a kind of a counterpoint to what you were saying as well. It's like the other side of 40. One of them is the middle finger, and the other side is ennui. So I'm wondering, this is the last year of ennui. I wonder what 50 will be. But
ends up being that it is what you make it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, this is something super cool. One of my gifts that I didn't show, Carrie got me. It's the Ready Player One Extra Life coin.
Oh, nice.
From the movie.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's actually, you can
That's
see.
That's so much better in the book, I feel.
Yeah.
The storyline with that whole sequence.
Yeah.
It's totally different in the book.
Yeah. I mean, we're definitely fans of the book. I am a fan of the movie because although it's very different, I appreciate the challenge that they had to undertake to try to tell a story. And I felt that it had a lot of the similar feel. I felt like it had hit a lot of the feels that I wanted from it. So I do appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh, no. I
don't need to see it again, actually.
Yeah.
But I want to read the book again, too.
Yeah.
And I'm more excited to read the book again than I am to watch the movie.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, the book is really good. I need to And consider doing, if you can do audiobooks, consider doing the audiobook, because then you can hear Wheaton. He does a nice job with it, and he has to reference himself in it, which is funny.
What's that?
He has to
Who
reference
has to
himself.
reference himself in what?
Will Wheaton. He narrates the audiobook. So I strongly recommend his narration of the book, and he has to mention Wesley Crusher in it.
Nice.
Oh, Aragorn was a horrible adaptation. Yeah. I think you were the one that got me to read Aragorn, actually, Mr. Mustard. And then yeah, the movie was. Have you read any of the other Aragon books? And I don't think you've read the first one, have you, Randy?
I can't recall if I've read Aragon or not.
You'll see it all the time, especially like if you go into.
I can't remember.
If you go into Myers, you'll see it right next to the Harry Potter books. And I think he's got like 5 of them. You think you've read 3 of them? They did not age well. Yeah. The thing is it was written, I think the first one was written by like when the author was like 14 or something. But one of the things that I appreciate about his take on it, I think the most, it's been a long time since I've read those. It's been over 10 years, maybe 12 years ago or something like that. They, it's how do you deal with magic, right? And 16-year-old. And I like the way that he did magic. It seemed like magic a lot had to do with the words for things, but that it consumed like a part of you, and so you couldn't, it exhausted you to do magic and things like that. But writing style is very choppy. Yeah. And he had some, as I recall, he had some interesting characters, and I like the way that his idea for magic and dragons feature very heavily in it. So, but that's one that I think they could do. The elves' language were words of power. Oh, okay. And it's something that they could do a really good TV series adaptation, I think, from it. That's something where I really like to see it, where you feel like the writing style is a little choppy, but it's got some really good world building elements to it, some good characters. Yeah, I think a TV show would be really. I'm still hoping they do a TV series of the wild card books as well. But okay, I'm going to continue to. The M50. I'm not sure. Yeah, in 2 hours. Yeah, and that's what's nice in today's day and age with kind of this new dawn of short run TV shows. It's nice because it provides a nice place to put the Venture Brothers. That's funny. Who's been... The rest of the Justice League Dark has been talking to me about the Venture Brothers. I've heard it mentioned several times. But I'm assuming you've never seen anything from the Venture Brothers, right? Have you never seen the Venture Brothers? No, I know it's an Adult Swim show. I believe that there's people that are dressed up as like butterflies, and that I just heard it's just really good. And I know it's on my list. I hear it's really, really, really good.
I have actually seen that.
Oh, have you? That's awesome.
I've seen. How many seasons are there?
I don't know. Okay, let me work on recreating this bridge. I still gotta get this in.
Whoa!
Keep saying this.
At least, yeah, it looks like 8 potentially.
7 gets really good after season 3. You know what?
Wow.
I'm gonna.
I've seen at least the first season. I may have seen a few more seasons than that. I don't know how many episodes are in each season. Yeah, it was enjoyable. There's a good meme with the evil scientist dude and Krampus.
Nice. Krampus is in it. I had to add that.
Might not be safe for work.
I got you. It's
I'm pretty sure it's not safe for work.
I had to add it gets really, really good after season 3 because that's just true so many times. So I just added that as a quote because I'll have to say, well, what show were we talking about? And it's like it could be so many. So the reason you would enjoy it is because of the references that it makes and the humor, and it is very well done. Nice. Mustard, have you ever watched any of the Gilmore Girls? It's something that might not be on your radar because you think it's a chick show, but it's pretty good.
Oh my god!
Really,
I thought the
really,
Krampus
really
thing
good,
was
actually.
just a meme, but that might actually be in one of the episodes. Oh, it's hilarious.
I'm about to reassemble our modular bridge here. All right.
Golden Girls was really good. It was so fast paced. It was like the first show that had that really fast paced dialogue, the back and forth banner, quick speed. It was just really well written that way.
It is, yeah, and that's the same thing with the Gilmore Girls. Is it's so smart, and I love all the references that it makes, and I like that they don't wait for you to laugh. Any show that doesn't wait for you to laugh, I'm generally a fan of. Yeah. And it had a lot.
That comes from old school live theater audiences and things.
Yeah, and also though, like if you watch,
and that's stemming from stage performances.
Yeah, but you also have classic movies. Like if you watch like His Girl Friday and things like that, like the banter that they have, it really is reminiscent of that, right? It's just you know, and it's so weird when you watch these old movies and that they can be so fast. You're like, wow, that's really, really interesting. All right, so we had our modular bridge. The Dwarven Forge thing's got all these little pigs in here, so it's modular. So I'm just reassembling this so that we can all right. I can't get it in the hole. Make your own jokes.
JB, you have crap. It's one of the D&D books. Can't think what it's called. Hold on. I'll figure it out.
All right, working on reassembling this bridge. This piece is heavy, so I gotta make sure that the support structures here are in place. Yeah.
Xanthar's guide to everything?
I do, yeah.
Supposedly there is something in that to help the Dungeon Masters help people with tool proficiencies, like additional uses and ideas of how to incorporate more out of out of toolkits and things like that.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. I just kind of glanced through the book. And then I wonder if what's interesting is that like with D&D Beyond, you have to purchase digital content, but you can purchase pieces out of a book for it to become available. So let's say that Xanthar's, had a subrace that wasn't in the original, right? Then right now you only get to see when you like the character that I've created, right, and that you've been tweaking, you only get to see the options of which I had the digital content for. But if say that there was a subrace in Xanthar's, I may only have to pay 99 cents to get that subrace added to the thing. And then if you ever purchase enough sub-content components of an item to equal the value of the book, then you've bought the book, so, which is also cool. So
nice. That's the way it should be. That's
good. So it is kind of suck that you have to buy the book and then buy it again. So I think that what I've bought is I bought the Player's Handbook, and I think I bought the Player's Handbook and maybe the Dungeon Master's Guide. And then I think I may have purchased. Because I ended up purchasing something for our druid because I wanted a druid that wasn't animal based but was plant based, and one of the things they ended up adding a thing that created a new circle within the druid line, and so I think it was like 99 cents to purchase that. So that gave him access. So if you find something like that where it's not a choice but it's in some other things, be mindful of that because it's something that we could potentially add very, very affordably.
Yes, I just have the Player's book, so the Player's Handbook. So there's so much stuff that they've added since then for character creation. It's ridiculous. I'm seeing like if I go looking for creating a character online and stuff, you get all this stuff. It's like, oh, well, that stuff all sucks. You need this aspect out of this book. It's like,
Nah,
I don't have any of that shit. I just got the basics. Screw that.
That's all max manning, and that's what we're
max man.
Yeah, and we're staying away from that. You know, it was like I potentially didn't like when I talked to the characters. It was just like they started out, and it's like you have to pick a strong suit and a weak suit. But I didn't talk to them about what their classes were going to be, so which ones would be beneficials and which ones weren't. And it's better when it's that way, I think. It's better to struggle with a poor dexterity. It's so much more fun that way than just like, I rock with dexterity and boom, I do max damage. We're doing damage. We're doing damage. It's so much I'm finding it's the failures and how people can try to overcome that and the story moments that are created out of that and the challenges that arise that have to be solved out of that, is an element that I'm enjoying that I think was missing from some of our other sessions. I need to try to pin these cords underneath. I have on my drawing table, it's got this top that's kind of like hinged, so I just use this insulation foam, and there's a bar underneath here that I can clamp these things onto.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, sure.
So I heard this thing about superstitions is adding quality to when you're creating a character by having them have some superstitions.
Yeah.
So I was looking I typed in strange superstitions, and one of the results was 55 of the strangest superstitions from around the world. Some of them had 13 superstitions, which I appreciate because 13.
Yeah. Triskaidekaphobia.
But
huh? Do I get points for that?
That's you get the points. You get all the points. So on the clickbait at the bottom, though, they've got Zac Efron's dad bod has fans thirsty as hell. Sorry, it just tickled me.
Oh, man. I need like a Gatorade after watching Zac Efron because I think he's made me deplete some of my electrolytes.
Oh Lord,
I need some potassium. I need a potassium supplement or something. That is funny. Yeah, some of the clickbait things are crazy. And it's funny too because like you'll be on like, I don't know, something that you think is somewhat legit, like a legitimate website, and then it's like they've just pawned off their bottom to the clickbait stuff is pawned off on somebody else. And so they keep trying to tell me that, I don't know, like the kid from Home Alone is dead and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they're always saying, oh, so and so's dead.
Yeah. Well, what they'll do is they'll say
it was funny when I read that. I thought I was still alive.
Yeah, what they'll do is they'll do 15 actors that you didn't know that were dead, and they'll show you one that's alive. And it's like, well, they didn't say that.
Each page.
Yeah, the slideshow. Yeah, I'm like.
Yeah, they have ads in between as well.
Well, they get clicks for each time you click to a different slide. You're accessing a different page, so it's when clicks started to count. They're moving away from that. I think maybe they're using different metrics or something. But yeah, that is annoying as all get up. It was like the day of like when you had to shut off your computer because you'd get too many pop-up ads. All right, so then we got that. We've got that. So maybe I need to walk.
Which is funny because it sounds like you just got a pop-up, a notification. The new pop-ups.
It did, yeah. Well, I got. Oh, that was one thing. Is that so? I got a new phone for birthday, and that's not awesome time to switch your phone. There's a bunch of messages that people sent me, like birthday greetings and things like that I don't have record of because it was on my old phone, And so, like, I'm trying to go through. And so if anybody sent me a message and I haven't responded, it's just because I'm just still trying to get caught up. But anyways, it was kind of like, And so, like, now it's like they made it really easy to switch my information from my old phone to my new phone. And I even did an unlocked phone, which I've never done before. And that was really easy. Basically just had to put in the SIM card from the old phone, and but I'm now in the process of re-logging into everything. So it was like I was trying to use Waze today to get to the car shop, and I couldn't because I had to log in, and and I couldn't find where I'd had my password for Waze, and so I was just like, "Argh," and I was trying to do something else to try to work around that, and I couldn't because I didn't, and it was just like, "Argh." So that technology, it works great when it works great. So yeah, but I am enjoying the new phone. I got a Note 10 Plus, which is, you know, an old phone, but it's, you know, they're getting ready to come out with the new Note 20, I think. But
Lord.
But my phone was like 2.5 years old. The case had broke on it, and so it was a good time. And so I got some monies for birthdays, so I put that towards it. But anyways, all right. So let's see here.
2.5 years old. Yeah, that ancient piece of crap. Disposable realities of modern.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, even. Yeah, I had the 8. So yeah, I had the 8, and so yeah, and I was past my 2-year cycle, I think, in January, and so I was just trying to hold on for a while, and you know, I could have kept rocking it for a while. I could have gotten probably another year out of it, maybe 6 months, a year out of it easily. But I mean, even like with a computer, I mean, I recommend replacing a computer at the least every 5 years, right? It's not that much different. In a way.
Yeah, they say 2 years, and now it's like with phones and stuff, there's no excuse for that shit slowing down. Nothing's wrong with it. It's just they do shit to deliberately bog it down and break it, and make you want to go out and buy a new one.
Well, one thing is that you can.
I've encountered that so many times.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I mean, you can do a factory install, and that helps a ton, right? But even then, it still seems like it's things just start. I mean, because at one point in fairness, you know. I don't disagree with you that it does seem as if there's something nefarious going on. But in fairness as well, you know, you can only ask people to support old architectures for so long, right? So it's like if I make an app, you know, how long do I need to support old versions of a phone OS for that app? And, you know, say I'm just the only person that makes an app. It's an app made by one person, right? There's at some point that they legitimately get to cut the line, and they've done their due diligence. Where that line is, I mean, that's, you know, I'm sure it varies personally. Our opinions probably vary personally on that, but
there's a lot that goes into it, but there's a lot of bullshit. Those things are being used as excuses to.
I don't disagree with you. Yeah, I don't. And like I said, you know, sometimes it's just a bloat of. I mean, it was the same thing. Every time I've had a computer, it was like I knew that back in like 95 or 4 or 3 that, you know, doing a reinstall on your computer was good. That was back then. You know, nothing's changed. Mm-hmm. You know, every couple of years it would be beneficial for you to do a reinstall, because that's just same thing with your computer. You know, your computer was fast. Every computer you ever got was blazing fast when you first got it, and then it was a piece of crap when you retired it. What happened? You know, where's that bloat come from? And a lot of it's just, you know, pulling up your, you know, defrags on your hard drive or fractionalization on your hard drives, and, you know, things that are stealing your RAM, and, you know, just all that kind of stuff. But that's one of the things actually I kind of liked about getting an unlocked phone, that in theory it has less bloatware on it, right? Because it doesn't have the carrier's bloatware on it. So we'll be curious to see. So far, I do enjoy it.
I'm still trying to figure out what to do with my tablet. It's acting like it's full, but it shouldn't be. I put everything on the external. I don't know why I haven't figured it out yet.
This I need to disassemble. Okay. And we'll say that this is down here, and this is down here.
Did you get anything else interesting or cool for your birthday?
I'm trying to think what I got the fist, which. You know,
not to put you on the spot, anybody that's listening, if he skips you, it's not because he doesn't care.
No, but you know, I got the fist, which is pretty fucking epic.
Oh, nice.
And let me see if we can.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the gems light up, which are pretty baller. It's got a thing here so you can lock it so that you can actually do poses on it. It's got this pulley system so that the fingers are actually, should be.
just so where they have a, you can get the decapitated head of Deadpool.
That's awesome.
And it registers things. If you pet its cheek or pull its hair or hang it upside down, it can register that stuff. You can set it on a motion sensor to say certain things. So like you can put it in the restroom on top of the toilet and close the door. So when somebody comes in there, he's like, whoa, occupado, buddy. And
that is awesome. That is really great. So you can put a lock on it though, so that any pose that you do, Randy, so I can have it, give you some.
Nice.
But so yeah, that was one of the coolest things I got. My mom had got me a delay pedal. I got that hooked up. She also got me the Harry Potter poster, which you can see in the background, and so the Harry Potter poster was good. Switch back there. I haven't gotten together with members of family, so.
Yeah, I still have to get together with you at some point. Socially distanced to some degree at least, and give you my stuff.
Yeah. This was the last thing.
I'm trying to figure out the best social distancing way for birthday spankings. I think maybe 2 yardsticks taped together might be sufficient.
Hey, whatever you need to do, I'm willing to facilitate. I got the last Queen box set from my dearest. So she's got me all 3 of them. So this one here, there's an album in here. A couple things to point out here. A Kind of Magic is the soundtrack for Outlander? No, not Outlander. There Can Be Only One. Is that Outlander? Why am I?
That's Outlander or Highlander.
Highlander. Yeah. So they did the soundtrack for that. So that's what A Kind of Magic is. And then The Miracle came out the year I graduated, and I remember listening to this album on the way to prom, and so now I can't ever not think about my high school year with that album. So that's a weird one. Yeah.
The first Queen album I got, I don't know what happened, but I was thinking I was getting an album performed by Queen. No, it was a live album. It ended up being like some orchestral version, some orchestra covering Queen songs. I was like, wait a minute, what is happening?
Yeah, I had this thing where I thought I was getting like the orchestral performances of Star Wars, and they weren't. They were somebody else's really crappy versions of them. I remember, what was it? It was K-Tel Records, I think, where they would do albums of songs that sounded just like the artist that weren't the artist, though. K-Tel Super Sounds or something goofy like that. But
they
yeah,
did stuff like that too with I think Netflix was and Redbox were bad with that for a while, at least Redbox.
Movies.
Where they'd come out with some rip off of a mainstream movie and make it look and sound as if it were that one. So you'd rent it thinking it was that one. And it wasn't. It was some piece of crap.
Who is the people that are involved in that, right? Because deceit is part and parcel of everything that's tied to that, right? It's like, we are going to make a movie, and we're just going to make it so that somebody accidentally buys this movie, watches this movie because they think they were getting something else. And I was like, how do you sleep? If this is a successful model, how do you sleep at night knowing that you made grandmas purchase wrong movies? You dick. You dick.
I think there's definitely an aspect of it. I think my kinder side will say that maybe it's that that somebody had written something along those lines, and they're like, "Wait, now is our moment. There's interest. Like, let's go ahead and throw this out here and hope it gets something." But yeah.
Well, if we've learned anything from Harvey Weinstein, it's that we can trust the industry. So.
I heard. I saw a thing with.
Everybody was.
Crap. What's his name? The guy who wrote Clerks and all that.
Kevin Smith.
Yeah, Kevin Smith.
Yeah, he's in such a weird spot because all of his movies were made by the Weinsteins.
Yeah, especially Dogma. They talked about creating a second Dogma.
I saw this thing that you're talking about. Yeah, please share this. He called him up like the night before the story broke. Because he said, because he said that he's
Harvey
always
called him up.
he said he's always wanted to do a sequel to Dogma, but they didn't actually have the rights to it, and blah 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 blah. And then and Weinstein called him up, and he's like, hey, we should do something with this intellectual property, right? And then continue. That was kind of like the backdrop for it.
Yeah, and had them all excited, like, yes, this is finally happening. This is excellent. We love it. Good. My hero wants to do this next movie that we loved, and I really wanted to do this. And then the next day is when the story broke. It was on the news, all the Harvey Weinstein crap. And he was like, what the hell is happening? And
and he said he was talking to somebody, right?
Yeah, he was talking to somebody after it. He's like, yeah, he called all of us, dude.
Yeah, and he said
was trying to get all of us on his good side.
Well, he said he was covering the wagons, and he was trying to figure out who talked and hadn't, and that he had word of that the article was going to break, and so he was trying to see who were friendly, who weren't, and who was part of it, and so said he was just covering his wagons, and it's just like, how? And he also said, I've never had a lot of interaction with him, and I always just was, we used to call ourselves the Weinstein Brothers because they made our movies, right? The Weinstein Boys or whatever. Yeah. And it's just like, now it's just like, it's really sad and disgusting. And,
He was telling the story of where...
and he said, and talked with them in a long, long, long time before the Dogma thing.
Yeah. And they like made their production company, they named it something that was... I think it was the Weinstein Boys, something like that. Something where it was a deliberate, direct homage to him as a thank you for giving him a chance. And he kind of worshipped him in a way for him giving him his chance. And then he had, I don't remember what movie it was for, but he had some big screening, and it was a huge deal for him. And he invited Harvey, and...
Might have been Red State.
I don't remember.
But I can't remember.
He showed up, but he left in the middle, and he was like talking on his phone in the lobby so loud that it was disturbing everybody that was trying to watch the screening.
Yeah.
And so he finally went out there and confronted him. He's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like, get out of here. Like, who do you think you are? And then immediately rushed back inside and cowered down in fear and was trembling and like, oh my God, what just happened? Because it was like that moment where you finally confront your dad or something.
Yeah.
Your hero. And you're scared of what's going to happen. And
I've heard...
You got an adrenaline rush going.
I've heard a few stories here and there. You get them through the vibrations on the interwebs. You'll hear things, and like there was a story that Gwyneth Paltrow talked about where Brad Pitt, I think, confronted him because when they were dating, and she had said that he had made her feel uncomfortable in a certain situation, and he had confronted him at a party, and it's like, you ever cause a situation, I will kill you. kind of thing. And then because I think she was talking to Howard Stern, and he's like, was this a situation where it's like, kind of typical for a guy to try to make the situation about him and just try to solve the problem? And she's like, no, it was him just really trying to stick up for me, and it was actually quite touching. And it was like, that's cool. And then I've heard a couple other stories about I heard that Jason Priestley supposedly, I think, punched him at a party for being a dick. So
nice.
It's kind of funny. You'll hear these stories of some of these things, post. But anyways, can we talk about that Gwyneth Paltrow sells candles that smell like her vagina?
Oh no, that's not.
Because that's a real.
We've talked enough about that.
I'm sorry, but it's a real thing, and I still can't wrap my mind around it that's a real thing. Do your own fact finding.
They do a bunch of crazy shit, and people buy it. And she has like a face mist, which, I mean, it could just be tap water, and she charges $60 for a half ounce of it, and people are like, "Oh yes, give." Oh, you can take my money. Like, wow. Okay.
All right.
Whatever works for her, I guess. People are just loving it.
Loving it.
I think they had a big segment on because she had a show or something. I'm not sure how she's getting out there, but like her and a bunch of her girlfriends, I guess, are kind of running this company, and they do kinds of different stuff. And one of them was like the vaginal steaming craze, where you like sit on this.
Is that like one of the steamers where you try to take the wrinkles out of your fabric?
I guess. But it's supposed to be very refreshing and relaxing.
I used to have major and minor. Now I just have one. That's funny.
Dogma. So, can you watch this now or not?
I see that Mustard thinks that Dogma. He thinks that Dogma was his favorite Kevin Smith movie. It is a good one.
So that's the thing with Dogma too, is that it is good. I really wanted to see it again, and then I found this out. And they're saying that Harvey Weinstein owns it because there was religious backlash.
Oh yeah.
Maybe because of when the movie first came out, because of the way it deals with religion and stuff.
And so it didn't have its normal.
They took it off the shelves. And the way to get by it was he ended up buying it, so he like totally owns it. Harvey Weinstein does.
Yeah.
And so that's why there's problems with it now. But it looks like it looks like he might be able to view the whole thing on YouTube, possibly. Yeah.
I own a copy of it as well.
Nice.
Yeah, I own a copy of it. I think I own a Blu-ray that I have ripped.
Cool. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
Yep, no doubt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he talked about it, and he said it sucked because it was like the anniversary of it, and you couldn't even watch it. Which doesn't make sense, because that's a stupid on Weinstein's part. Because Kevin Smith's fans are pretty loyal. All right, so Randy, I'm going to try to talk through a recap here of our session. This shouldn't take too long. I think I have it fairly adjusted back. All right.
It is actually one if you wanted to do mental health minute first and get that out of the way.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, and I'm just going to sit down for a second. The thing that I was just thinking about with the mental health minute, one was just about, kind of the ennui of the, little bit of depression of the birthday stuff. But I was thinking about just friends in general, and that how important friends are, especially when you can be in fragile mental states, and how your tendency, my tendency, I think a person's tendency is to, as you retreat, don't forget to try to remember. I feel like when you're in a good mental state is the time when you stock your toolbox, right? So that when you're in these moments of crisis, that you can open up the toolbox and have some moments to, you have some tools. And one of those toolbox in the moments of sanity, quote unquote, you got to remember to stock your toolbox with the importance of friends, and that when you're in these moments, open up that toolbox, remember to reach out and include people and be part of people. And the isolation never helps. I don't think, in my opinion. So that's kind of the concept I had. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's. Can I go?
I was saying go ahead. I was saying go ahead, please.
Gotcha.
Please talk now. Why aren't you talking?
All right, I'm going to make some coffee. I'll be back in about 15 minutes. So, yeah, there's a big social, even historically and, back in caveman times, social, we're strongly wired for social connections, need that sort of interaction and feeling like part of a group. And, everybody's an individual, has different levels of how that plays out for them. But there's a lot to be said for that, and having someone to talk to and discuss things with. Makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. And also, doing for others, right? You'll do for others what you wouldn't do for yourself sometimes, which is funny. You know, you can find courage. You know, I've seen both of us, me do this, see you do this, but I can have courage standing up for somebody else than when I wouldn't have courage standing up for myself.
Yeah, it's always so much easier for me to do something for somebody else than it is for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were going to talk longer, so I was trying to get a moment to chew on my salad over here.
Well,
you made such a big deal about me walking on you. I thought, oh, good, I'll get to go over here and sit down for a second. Randy's going to carry it for a second.
What kind of salad you munching on?
Carrie had made, because, you know, we were running late. She's like, hey, you want to make a salad? And she had some pulled pork that she put into a salad. It's like summer salad. It's got like cranberries and stuff in it. It's really good. Really good. I woke up at 4 a.m. with a sour stomach. And usually when I do that, I just need to take Tums or something. I don't. So I lay in bed for an hour, and then I finally get up. And so I laid in bed for an hour and got up, and I couldn't find the Tums. I was like, so I stayed up for like another hour. So I've had kind of...
Sounds like a situation you need to keep some by your bed.
You know, yes, I agree. I have that on the to-do list.
They've improved so much. Like, you remember how they used to be all crappy and like chalky, like Maalox and Tums and all that stuff? They used to just be really horrible tasting. And now they're all like candy. All the mixed fruit flavors and stuff.
It's like a Flintstones vitamin.
The generic brands, like from the dollar store, taste like candy.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so friends, how many of us have them? Friends, ones you can depend on. There was an old song from the 80s, like a rap song, Randy, called Friends. Friends, how many of us have them? Friends, ones you can depend on. Friends. You can imagine that you're roller skating right now. That's what you should be doing. I'm trying to think of who that is. I think that was Houdini. I think that was Houdini who did that. Go ahead.
The magician? He rapped?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He had mad skills.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. Harry could drop a verse and then hit you with the curse.
Was this before or after his death? Did he come back? Because I know he was supposed to try to come back if there was a way. He was going to come back to prove it was possible.
He don't call it a comeback. He's been here for years. Okay.
He was a big debunker of spiritualism, mediums and whatnot.
Yeah, there's yeah, which is awesome. He's an interesting character. His death was weird because I think he had somebody, because people would see him and be like, you can imagine it. You know, today's day and age, like, you know how it was celebrities. I think in some ways it may have been worse back then because there were fewer celebrities and, you know, the moment must have been so overwhelming. But so people would come up and want to interact with him. And so he had this thing about you could punch him in the stomach. He let people punch him in the stomach. And so somebody did that to him when he wasn't prepared. And said it caused him a lot of injuries. And I think that's what they speculate may have caused him to not be able to get out of his situation where he died. Because I think he died performing, right?
That's what I've seen. I've seen like a YouTube video come up with suggested or something. I forget where I keep seeing it. It's probably in YouTube suggesting so, where it was about how Houdini died, and it shows him being punched in the stomach.
Yeah.
Like, really hard, where it's like his stomach is rippling. So the assumption there being that it was some trauma caused by that punch, by a punch. Because
like I said, I think that, you know, some of that footage might have been when he was doing it, and they said that, you know, he would do it, you know, he'd clench his things, and that he would say that, you know, he could take anybody's punch in the stomach. But yeah, so that, like, somebody done it, and it was like somebody, I'm remembering it as like, you know, somebody that was drunk, he was in a social situation, somebody's jumping, was like, you know, you could totally see that, you know, he's talking to somebody, and somebody just comes up, and punches him.
Yeah.
So.
And I haven't watched that one, but I had thought that he died in one of the like the water tank situations or something like that, or a sunken treasure chest, or he was inside of it in a rip or something. But I may be combining that with something else that I'd seen.
I thought that too, but I thought that they were saying that he couldn't get out. They think he couldn't get out maybe because of the trauma that he had suffered from that punch. But there again, you do your own fact finding. It's a long time since I saw that. That's how I recall it.
There are a couple of really good movies about his life though that are interesting.
Yeah,
that's where I learned about his trying to debunk spiritualism and stuff.
It's kind of neat because it's like, you think about people like that and you feel like the more you find out about it, it's tall tales and local legends and things like that, right? Paul Bunyan wasn't Paul Bunyan. John Henry he may have been a steel driving man, but whatever. Babe wasn't the size of a state. Babe the Blue Ox wasn't the size of a state. We were talking about Johnny Appleseed and things like that. So when you find somebody historically and you find out that maybe there's something more interesting than you actually knew, it takes you by surprise. And he really seemed to be a cat that was larger than life, in a way. Very, very, very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah, I did want to mention to go back to the mental health moment for a minute.
Sure.
That for people who are in a situation where they don't feel like they can make friends and things like this, and they feel like they're always alone or they're lonely, there are other paths to consider. It is worth trying to find a counselor or something like that. Some people might be scared of that. There's no reason to be. A lot of that, really all of that is just about your anxiety.
Yes.
And once worrying about the thing is so much worse than the actual thing.
Almost always.
It's actually. Yeah, it's actually nice to, go and talk to somebody. Like, they're not going to cure you or anything like that. Like, it's not a magic pill. It's something that they can help you. Just talking to somebody, even in that situation.
It can be an interesting experience. It can be an interesting experience to sit down and talk with somebody that you really feel has no vested interest in the outcome of the conversation. Yeah. And you don't have many of those situations.
And you can tell them and know that you're not going to be judged. Their opinion of you is not going to change. You're not burdening them. That kind of stuff. So,
yeah, true. Yeah, you don't feel like you're dumping on them. You don't feel like
Colonel Mustard said. But how do I stop everyone from running away when I show them my belly button link collection?
Well, what you do is you find people online.
You go on the internet, you find the belly button link collecting club.
Because they're there. They are there.
They're definitely there. And then you find the ones, if you're interested in knitting, then you find the group that is belly button lint collectors that like to knit their belly button lint, and you're good to go.
That's something.
So, go ahead.
No. That's something. I was just exclaiming.
Okay.
Just an exclamation.
So also, there's other ways that you can deal with it too. So getting used to social situations or trying to get some sort of bump on your social situation, counter there, if you will. There's lots of free hikes hosted in the state parks and things like that, or metro parks, where there's hiking groups, and you just go, and it's just people getting together to hike, and you don't have to talk to anybody or anything like that. You can just hike, but that's one instance of a way to get out there and try to have a little more social interaction.
Randy, that is a good point, that there are lots of different ways and means to get out there. I know that for a while when we were doing our kayaking and things like that, it's easy to find kayak clubs and things like that. I was thinking though, there's probably there's unspoken victims of the COVID crisis, right? And I think that one of them that I don't know that we're giving the due diligence to shedding a tear for, who's probably suffering, is the sex clubs. Okay, imagine that sex clubs are.
I mean, have you seen Naked Gun?
Yeah. Body condom?
One of them, they have the body condom.
So, I can't imagine that. Well, unless you're into that. And again, there are people who are.
Or like, Yeah, you have to figure out some bubble boy situation.
Some bubble boy situation. A lot of people are out there. There are dozens of us. Dozens!
Plus, there's people that are into like binding with saran wrap and stuff. It's kind of like a body condom, I guess.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. I was
But
thinking...
yes, that's a good point. For those who are into those things and just want to have a normal or regular or vanilla sexual sexual encounter with like-minded individuals, then yes, I imagine that is
imagine the
problem.
sex clubs.
If they are caring about adhering to COVID.
I wonder when the sex clubs will open back up. That's...
With bated breath, I await.
So, well, yeah.
The reopening
I'm
of
just saying,
local sex clubs.
Let's give a moment to pause for the sex club worker. We live in a wacky world. I'll tell you that. A weird, wild, wacky world. One of the things we was talking about with the internet, right? And there's other people out there. Whatever it is that you're into, there's other people. And it's an empowering thing about the worldwide internet, right? That you can find. I think it's really been awesome for nerds, right? Who tend to be when I grew up, we're a marginalized, fractionalized type of, subset of culture. And now we're kind of experiencing a renaissance where we don't get stuffed in as many lockers and get as many swirlies. And that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for the internet, would nerds have become the new superpower?
Maybe. Well, yeah, exactly. But the thing is that, like, if you're into, role-playing games, or you're into, Star Wars, or into whatever you're into, you're into sparkly vampires, you're into whatever, you can find some other people that are out there, and then it makes you not feel as alone. But I imagine there's also probably a problem with the internet that whatever you're into, that you can find somebody else out there that's into it. And that probably makes people feel legitimized in some things that I don't know that I would think they should take some comfort in feeling legitimized in. But
yeah, there are actually people called bug chasers. And there are a few instances that I'm thinking of specifically, but I imagine it's more broad than I realize. And I imagine that there is probably a bug chaser group for COVID. People who are spreading it and going and wanting to get it and infected by it, and intentionally, which is just disturbing. I'm sure it's out there.
Well, yeah, I had this,
and that would be one of those examples.
I had this interesting thought about the multiverse, right? That what if the purpose of humanity, and this is just being sillies, but imagine, if you will, that the purpose of humanity is because humanity is the creature that can have conscious thought, and that it is conscious thought that is actually creating the multiverses. That is, it is you imagining the possibilities creates those possibilities. And so the multiverse doesn't exist until you imagine it. But that means that things that you imagine, you create. So if you imagine bad things, then you're creating universes where bad things happen.
There's actually a term for this. I can't recall what it's called, but where we create reality based on our own imaginings and stuff. So,
yeah, I think it's probably inspired by some of those types of thinking. Not claiming to make this a totally original thought, but kind of the confluence of a lot of thoughts.
I was thinking of this yesterday. I was trying to come up with that term, and I can't remember what it is. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that was pretty much the point.
It's like manifest. It's not manifest destiny, but the law of attraction is.
Oh yeah, that's the If you speaking into the universe, isn't that the secret? That's
part of it. It's not part and parcel. I think the secret is probably about those things. Those things are not the secret.
If I told you, wouldn't very much be a very good secret now, would it? What's the opposite of secret?
Anyway.
Because at this point, I don't think the secret's a secret anymore. Wow,
I can't wait to share what I learned on.
There's a universe filled with my wet dreams. That is awesome. Well, yep. Yeah, the dreams. Yeah, your dreams are really creating a bunch of wackiness, right? So all your dream worlds end up becoming universes. Their own multiverses.
There was a school of thought that said that our dream states are shared consciousness, and that we exchanged ideas and manifested things through these shared dreams.
You know, I think that I started thinking this too because of I'm reading Sandman, right? And so it's the King of Dreams, and then one of the stories was basically about the world of cats, and said that at one time cats were humans and the humans were cats. But what happened was that enough of the humans, they imagined it to be a different way. And so then it always was a different way because enough of them imagined it. And so this cat's trying to convince enough of the cats to dream it back the way that it was. So I'm sure it's heavily influenced by that thought as well. But and combining that.
I was watching something about.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was saying combining that with the idea of the multiverse was kind of, I think, the confluence that I was bringing to it. But go ahead, please.
Good. I was just watching a YouTube video about. I was watching some about history and legends and myths and things, and one of them was talking about. I don't know if it was Japanese or Chinese or what was the origin, but.
Dirty knees. Look at these.
No. Oh crap! It was the one that had to do with a demon who was like a giant white snake, but she shifted into human form, and oh crap! There's a couple different ones that surrounded her. I can't remember how it was going to tie into what we were talking about. Oh well. I'll get back to it.
Yeah.
Because I was watching a lot of stuff about myths. Why? Your face when I'm speaking, it's hilarious.
It
Like,
is.
what the fuck is he talking about? What? Actually, I should be able to find it.
I had to make some. I'm trying to come up with the thumbnails for our video. I think the video is done. I just need to give it one more fresh look just to make sure there isn't any glaring errors. But so I'm working on the thumbnail now, and so I had to do some things, and so I'm trying to do some stuff where, you know, I'm putting myself with a goofy picture. Here, actually, I'll show you a teaser of what I'm working on.
Cool. Oh, I did want to tell you, originally I had said that Critical Role when I first started watching. Nice.
So, I got a couple different ones, but this is, yeah, this, hold on, this is one. There's one. There's one. There's one.
Nice.
I like this one, and I like, so yeah, I'm working on trying. I just did a rough edit out just to see, and there's a lot of programs that they have online that are, and so it's like, you know, trying to make something that's funny but not clickbaity, right? And isn't just annoying. Like, I'm just trying to make the most annoying
You
face.
need to do one where you have like you're like an angry face almost, like you're casting a powerful spell, like a firebolt or something.
That's cool.
A fireball, or like whoa, and then one where like ooh, with like an O face, like ooh, look at that.
Yeah, those are some fun ideas. Yeah, it'd be fun too. We get, you know, it'd be nice when situation where we might be able to be in a room together again, because it'd be helpful in some of these situations to have another person, because it's like I kept having to do stuff, take everything off, go to make a switch, take everything off, try to adjust the focus, take everything off. It's like, man, this would go so much easier if I just had somebody that could just hit a button on the other side of the room for me. Help me out here. Help me say, hey, you know what? You're not in focus right now. Anyways. So it's like, if I could have like 30 minutes after one of our sessions, like it'd be a lot easier to kick out some things. And yeah, I think we can have a lot of fun with it because I was just trying to figure out, like, how do I put my face in it and it be relevant? And so yeah, so the title of it's going to be Dungeon Deep Dive, and then I'll have on the left hand side. What I'll do is I'll cheat me over a little bit to the right, slide me over to the right, create a block of black on the left, and go from there. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, I like that. That would be you could do some fun things with some expressions, right? Like you're saying, it's like if you had a caster and things like that, you could do some different things where you can put some expression in and it doesn't feel. There's this one guy, I swear to God, and I won't mention his name because I don't want to empower him. I don't want to manifest him anymore into the universe. And he makes these videos and he's just got this stupid face. And I see it and he makes this face that just makes you want to punch him. And it's like, I don't want to succeed like that, right? I don't want to have to resort to that type of tactics because it's just like, I just find it so disingenuous and skeevy. But all right, anyways. So
there's a lot of what do they call it, where they like the statistics of what causes people to click on videos and things like that. There's a certain term. I think you actually said it earlier in the video.
I might have. Metrics? I don't know.
That's part of it, but no, that's not the term I was looking for. But you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. The way that they measure and decide, like, oh, these are the this type of face is what gets clicked on the most. And it's expressions like those, like, you know, big
click-throughs, like, because like we were talking about click-throughs is when we were talking about it earlier.
Well, yeah,
the slideshows and click-throughs and things like that, and how they've changed it. But yeah, now they're doing it different. Yeah, now there's this. Yeah, so it's like the psychology of thumbnails, which is everything. It's like the thumbnail is equally as important as the video, because nobody will see the video if they don't click on the thumbnail, right? And they do measure that if somebody clicks on your thumbnail and then clicks off, it means that your thumbnail was not representative of, you know, the content. That's actually a bad metric, and that works.
I click on videos all the time just to add them to my list so that I can go back later and watch them when I have time.
Yeah. Now that might be different if you add it to a list, but if like you watch it, like you only watch.
Just so it gets on my history.
Oh well, yeah. There's that.
So I don't have to spend the time to add it to a list. I can just it automatically adds it to my history, and then I can go back later that way.
But yeah, so there is a thing about that. So you know, which is it is an interesting, you know, metric up for it, but yeah, it's the faces are undeniably important if you want to do that. So it's like, well, let's give it a try. That and high contrast and making sure that it's very visible on mobile devices. Those are some of the key.
Wait, what'd I do?
I don't know.
What'd I do?
I don't know, but whatever I said that indicated that you suck was not my intent at all. You're out of here. All right, let me take a couple seconds here to try to just do this walkthrough here so I can keep moving on.
Man.
All right.
Oh, wait a second. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So I think I kind of recreated it roughly to where we were at the start of the last session. Let me get my my tentacle finger what made for pointing out stuff.
Oh, yeah. See, that's what I'm worried about, Mustard. Hopefully it's not the case. That's dumb.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, JB.
That's right. You are part of the problems. Well, I ain't got videos for you to watch, so you're not causing me any problem. Okay. So when we had previously on Dungeons and Dragons, kind of one of the last things that had happened was that they had made the bridge collapse due to the guys. They were up here, and Nicholas was up here, and Furion's pet was on the other side on the bridge. He ended up coming across. Nicholas had this thing where I believe it's his gnomish or his dwarvish background, I believe, and he was able to help identify some weak spots where the bridge was fastened into the rock, and Randy, you know, that's a situation where we talk about where, you know, by the true definition of the way that his background thing was described in the book may have not 100% meant what, the way that we executed it. But that's like what you're saying with like the herbalist medicine, proficiencies and things like that, herbalist proficiencies, right? And it's like, so whenever there's an opportunity, I try to err on the side of including it rather than not, because it sucks to have these abilities that you never get an opportunity to use. Mm-hmm. Just a little side note that was a situation where, you try to find it. And even like, I think Nicholas, when he was reading it, he was like, well, I don't know if this really applies. And it's like, no, it's going to apply. God damn it. If you make the roll, it's going to apply. We will make it work. You're at least going to get a failed dice out of it. I'll try. So, anyways, he was up here with his background. He identified an area. He himself wasn't able to sufficiently loosen it, but when Furion's pet joined in, that helped, and it made all his collapse. They had a person, I think there was 3 gnomes that were on the bridge. One of them had fallen. 2 of them had. There was the female, she was already down. There was another one who had come in, and then there was one who had bitten on the leg of Furion. There was one that had chomped into the leg of Furion, and so he actually had dragged him over here. That was really awesome. I think he had got like a natural 20 on his grapple, so he just had bit into his leg, and rather than dealing with him, because he wasn't dealing a lot of damage, he just was walking with this goblin biting his leg. So he comes over here. Let's see if maybe we can include some of our other camera angles in here. Yeah. So they were all up over it here, and then they'd come down. I think we'd all previously discussed this, so this is going to be a quick recap of this. So over here there was the horse that they had retrieved and brought over here, and then up. And so they had all kind of made their way up in here. And there was the big giant who was here. He was back here and chained up. Dart had assisted in getting him freed, and then there was a goblin that she had given some iron rations to, which I thought probably was going to be insulting, but we had a roll, and it ended up being a childhood treat that he liked, so he wasn't insulted by it, and he was actually encouraged and thought it was a nice gift. So he said that he would try to help them find secure passage, and that just staying on the road, which the road out of here. It's like from this lower level, there's a ramp up here. And you come over here, and there's this ramp up here. And there's some posts and some foliage that helps kind of mark that road, so it's kind of know where the road is. So that's kind of where they had left off, except for the very last thing. As the giant, he left. Dart was a little bit insulted that he just kind of ran away. The goblin said that he would help. And there was Nicholas. Nicholas had his ever smoking bottle, and he pops the cap on that, and what it does is it makes this big cloud of smoke come out. So that's where we started our session. So as we're figuring out what that is and how far the smoke would be, we kind of ended up denoting it here with I just used some zip ties that I have over in our shelves. Some old trash bag ties. And so I just kind of use this to map out the border. So basically Nicholas was like kind of here, and so we established this perimeter of where the smoke was. And after 10 rounds, the entire board would be filled with the smoke, which is kind of crazy. And make sure there's a couple clicky clicks were all good. I don't think that was anything related to us. Okay. So that's what this line here represents, is the smoke border. And previously, before he had pulled that, though, there was some giants up here, and one of them had taken to actually. Let me see if I can lower this a little bit. Actually, I found that in editing, what I want to do is I need to move this stuff down here because I hate the visual clutter that it's causing. I need to put something that's just like black. Something like that. All right, that helps. So we have these giants here, and yeah, so they were actually taking some pot shots on the party down here, trying to throw rocks. But once the smoke cloud pops up, there wasn't a lot that they could do. They had disadvantage in trying to aim, and everybody started to disperse at that point. So they really kind of had some hard times figuring out anything. Now, you also have the bird who had come into play. So the bird had originally was up here, had landed, had gotten rooted. He had gotten freed and then was kind of out of play. And then at the end of the last session, he had actually come back into play. And we had rolled to see where on the table he would be coming back from. We just rolled a d12 and that indicated, we rolled a d12 and that indicated a spot here. And so he was coming in from here. So that's the bird creature. And the bird creature, he was being controlled by the half giant over here. And so at the start of this session, people start to try to move out. And one of the things that had happened was that Catchpenny, the merchant, he gets a little antsy and wants to move forward. Now, since we were in the stealth cloud, a lot of people had to roll their stealth rolls and got to do so with advantage. And Catchpenny, he rolled a natural 20. So he kind of goes invisible, but he ends up taking the horse up the ramp. And this is really tight quarters, but because of this fog, he's up here. Dart also, she rolled a natural 20, and so she tries to make her way up through here to try to find him. And Shasta collapses because the player who controls Shasta wasn't available. And so right now we've just been having it that when the players, because of their burgeoning magic powers and them all kind of coming together, that sometimes it's just overwhelming. Sometimes when we touch, the honesty's too much. It's that kind of thing, Randy. That so we just make it that if the player's not there, that player's collapsed, and the party kind of needs to take care of them, figure out something for them. Whereas in previous sessions, our DM was always cool about, well, they're just not here and they did this. And a lot of times I'll do that as well. But in this one, it's just kind of interesting because it gives an extra component for the party to think about. So there was some rearranging of some people. Some people went forward, some people come back. I believe Nicholas, he comes back with Baxter von Wigglebottoms. And I think Raina was minding Shasta as well. And Furion, he started to make his way up the path. Here. And his pet was with him, I think, as well. And let me see here. Marina's pet was kind of over here as well. And Dancing Lights ended up, that wasn't in play. Yeah, I think this is kind of where we were at this particular junction. So we have Furion, Dart's up here. Catchpenny starts to make his way up here. Furion starts to make his way up the path. Nicholas is tending to fall in Shasta. Oh, and that's right. I remember Nicholas's pets, and I don't know if his Treant pet actually was like had crawled over here, and then actually had crawled back to help care for Shasta. The giant above threw a boulder because Nicholas actually had failed his stealth roll, and so he actually had made a lot of noise. So he actually got to take a shot at him, but he rolled horrifically, so he missed. But they knew that if it would have hit, it probably would have hurt real bad. So they end up just picking up Shasta. And I mentioned this on Instagram, that there's something gratifying when you see a player actually physically have to carry another player. So he picked up Shasta. The Treant started to resume his path back to Furion. Reina, she started to make her way along. Oh, and then what we were going to do was Dart was trying to get the horse and take the horse back to Shasta as well. So, let's see over here. So she had actually failed an animal handling, and I think it was a crit fail, but the Catchpenny was fine with her taking the horse, and so she finally, through some rolls and investigations and some whispers, had communicated to Catchpenny. So he was fine with her taking the horse. And she failed, but then eventually got a natural 20. And so she could basically command the horse with just, clicks and whistles and things like that. So she started to send the horse down. But Nicholas had already had picked her up, but then they did put her on the horse, and then she started to make her way up. And then at this point, the player character actually did return in this session. But let me get a couple shots. I want to get one shot of Nicholas actually holding her and then her on the horse. Let's see here. So we'll see if we can get a zoomed in shot there of it. Let me be able to get some fun shots here with. All right, it's here. It's us. And see if I can move this up here. Yeah, so we have here, and so he had actually picked up Shasta, and then the horse came, and so then he put her on the horse. And the player character had returned at this point, and but knowing that that they had kind of been in this state of don't know what the heck's actually going on, they kept role playing with that, and there was some fun critical fails, and so they're in this cloud, and so she started causing dancing lights to appear in this cloud, and according to the specs of the spell, she can make the color lights fly all over the place. So you're imagining you've got this ever smoking cloud, this big huge cloud that's got like I think it was 30 feet diameter or 60 feet diameter, and so then there's all these lights that are flashing. So that was super distracting to the Giants. So that totally threw off their ability, these guys' abilities to focus in and to hit them. So that was actually worked out in their favor. So that was over in here. And Shasta on the horse made the dancing lights be in effect. So we had our dancing light figure that we had in play out here. Just as a reminder that was going on. And then everybody started making their way kind of out here. One thing of note was that the bird had came over here. And actually we had him, I think, just on here. And because the half giant, he was trying to command the bird to go into the cloud, but he kept failing on his rolls to be able to do it. So the best that he ended up being able to accomplish was just having the bird come to the edge of it and flapping its wings. And so we denoted here a spot where he kind of had slowly was starting to push in. And it might not seem like that was a big deal, except for the fact that Catchpenny had said to the party that basically there was just a pinch point up here, and that if they could get past the pinch point, that they would be fine. And that pinch point is kind of pretty much right here where the statue is. And so So he was saying that basically if they could get over in here, that they're out, that they're free and clear once they can kind of get the path. He knows some ways that'll get them off the path. So they just kind of need to get past here. So meta-wise, we were saying that the players needed to spend one round basically on this circle. If they spent one round on this circle, then they could consider themselves exiting on the next round if they chose to. So everybody started to work their way up here. So you had Furion, he was kind of leading the charge here, with his pet coming back and doing some stuff. So he was right here on the edge. Catchpenny was right on the edge. Dart, she had actually gone back to try to help control the horse. So Furion, and Furion's pet actually ended up supersizing on an attack roll that he had made on, he was casting spells over on the giant here. And he had him discombobulated, and I don't remember exactly what spell he'd cast on him. And I think he had a couple of spells on him. But so he had a spell on him, and then also the druid has the spell about with his sphere of spores, and he can use his animal shape, or he can use one of his spells that normally would have to do with wild shape, I think, and he can attack using this. It makes his Halo Spores spell more potent, I believe. Let's see if we can get a shot of that on there. So we denoted this guy with that. So yeah, so that was the bird. And the giant here who was on the post here, you know, now he was trying to get out from where he was, and so he just started to try to climb this wall, and the half giant had asked, he doesn't really do asking, But he had ordered this guy to try to get this guy under control. And so he actually came over and was helping him and pulled him up to this level. So they were both up on this level. But he was getting attacked. He was getting attacked. And during that process, because it was attack roll that he got a natural 20 on, his pet supersized. But they were using the horse to get Reyna up here. And these guys were distracted over here because of the lights. Everybody's kind of up here waiting for the right moment to flee, except for Nicholas. He actually ends up charging over here and is attacking him. And I believe Dart actually also came over. Once she got up here and the horse was good, she came over, I believe, and also attacked on him. And they just put a real nice series of hits because she was actually invisible. So since Dart was invisible, she's roguish, she got to use her automatic crit for getting to attack something while she was invisible, and then her sneak attack damage. And so she just rolled an ass load of damage on these guys. So he went down, and then I gave them the option to do a kill stroke or just make prone, and they've fought this guy before, and they actually decided that this time he's getting a kill stroke. So, and I just lost Baxter Von Wigglebottoms. There he goes. He just slid down, did a little slippy slide. So they had killed him, and then everybody had pretty much, I think, got out here and made their way out. The only other thing of note that I can think of with this was this statue here in particular. Let me see, which camera am I using? This statue here in particular. It was a serpent lady with 7 swords, and what Catchpenny says is that, you know, he came through this path a lot, and he's like, this place is overrun with giants. I mean, I thought at most we would have 1 that we would have to sneak past. 2 would be a bad worst case scenario. He's like, so there's a lot of them up here, and also he's like, there's religious ornamentation here, so that is not he's not used to. He's like, this doesn't have anything to do with the religion of these hill giants, so he's not certain what that's all about. But then they end up making their way onto the spot and are able to exit. And the next piece of what we're going to be working on will be actually, maybe I can, let's see where I go with this. Whoa. Yeah, the next session is actually going to be not as heavy with terrain, as in none. Won't have any terrain. It's going to be a theater mind, and maybe we'll use some maps and some things. But the players were actually making their way to a city named Boheme, and so hopefully, I think that we're going to start the next session with them in Boheme, and going from there. And we will get to be the most important piece of information to share in all of this, Randy, is that we'll be seeing the introduction of a new character. One of the 10 petals will be joining. And what is that character's name?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, well, then we don't know. I guess it's
Is it
mystery.
Carrie Wigglebottoms? Maybe?
Wigglebottoms?
Possibly.
So we have
Wigglebottoms might be his middle name.
Yeah. So
or one of his many names.
Yes.
Possibly.
And we were saying that he is no relationship to Nicholas's dog, correct?
As far as we know.
As far as we know. He always said your mom was a bitch. That's what I did there. It was a dog joke.
Rude.
Rude.
Wow.
All right. So
not really, Mom.
I know I didn't mean that. I meant like, you know, your pretend mom. I meant yo mama, not your mom. I know your mom.
Joe Mom.
I meant Joe. Let's talk about Joe. All right. So what is we're at 1:53, my friend. So we are wrapping up here at the end. I can film the
Started late.
Yeah, that's true. We did. I can film the disassembly of this
We
separately
have a
because
few
I.
things to talk about.
But yeah, did you say you have something to talk about? Or we?
Yeah, I wanted to mention one thing. Was that recently? I don't remember if it was last session or time before last. We had mentioned Critical Role for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, you were starting to talk about this. Uh huh.
Yeah, when I first came across it, I didn't really get into it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you were really surprised. You thought
Yeah.
I'd really love it.
Yeah.
And I've just recently watched more stuff from Critical Role, and it is awesome. I don't know
Hold
what
on.
I
I just
saw.
knocked off my headphones, so I'm not hearing what you're saying. So don't talk. Taking off my long sleeve shirt, and I just ripped my headphones off. 1 second. You said you had just watched a few more, and
Brown chicken, brown car.
yeah, you said you'd watched a few more, and
Yeah, I watched a lot of them actually recently because they are awesome.
season 1 or season
hilarious.
2? Season 1 or season 2?
I was just watching random videos, kind of.
Okay.
Not specifically season. I did watch some things from season 1, definitely.
I haven't seen any of season 2.
They have now, but...
I think 2. Okay. But the thing is I think within the seasons they're totally different cast of characters. So like, I think second season deals with the Mighty Nine, and the first season I think deals with Vox Machina is the name of the party. So I think they're just totally different groups of, it's a lot of the same players,
same actors,
same players, but they're playing different characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
And they'll have different themed campaigns too. One of their campaigns is in space, I think.
And I admittedly have a love-hate relationship with Critical Role. There are things I love about it, and there's things I hate about it.
Mm.
And
what is it that you hate about it?
I don't know that I want to talk about that. I don't know that I don't want to hate. I want to create. But
there is a thing called the Mercer effect, apparently.
Oh yeah,
which he is very sad to hear.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that one of the negatives of Critical Role is one of the positives. It's definitely brought a lot of interest to the hobby.
Yes.
Right. I mean, an amazing.
Yeah.
And Matt Mercer is an amazing DM and an amazing voice actor and a great world builder, and he's amazing. But because he's so amazing, and you're dealing with a bunch of voice actors, everybody thinks that they're going to play D&D and have a session of Critical Role is going to be gravely disappointed. Because that's not what's
that's
what
they call the Mercer effect, basically. Yeah. Like, everybody's expecting it. Like, they'll see that before they've even played D&D, and they think that that's the way D&D is supposed to be. And it's like, yeah, no, they're professional actors.
Yeah.
Like, they do this kind of stuff for a living. Not playing actually, they do play D&D for a living now, but no, like voiceovers and voices and acting a character and telling a story.
These guys have ad-lib. I'm sure every one of those probably has, taking classes and ad-libbing and things like that.
Yeah, improvisation.
And
they actually mentioned that they have like pre-shows where they kind of put together an idea of some of the stuff that's going to happen. But.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and the thing is that they're friends, and they play very well off of each other, and yeah, it's amazing. It is amazing. I've watched almost the entire season of one. Sometimes some of the characters can start to grate on you, I think, over time, and I don't find a need to point out which characters are I consider those to be, but that's one of the problems that I do kind of have with it. It's just like I think there's a thing I have where I almost attribute it to kind of a theater, people who are in theater. It's this I don't know the word. It's like almost too precious. Like, they're all so precious. And that's kind of the problem I have, I think, with Geek and Sundry just in general. Like, I've tried to watch other stuff on the channel, and I have a hard time identifying with a lot of the personalities that they have, because I find them to be just...
Precious in what way? You mean that they need the center of attention?
Aren't we precious? Look at us. Kind of thing. And like I say, I don't want to. I'm not trying to. What they do, what they make is amazing. And to throw shade on it, try to do something like they did, and then tell me what tell me what your opinion on how bad they do. You know what I mean? So it's just I don't want to. And then the amount of work that these people put into it too. It's just the amount of work to get all these people together to show up, to be in a frame of mind where they can act with each other spontaneously on camera is a lot. And but yeah. What's weird too is that if you watch some of the episodes, like one of the players is from the beginning is not with them, and they had a not pleasant split with that person, and I can only imagine that person is just kicking themselves over and over. Somewhere in the middle of season 1, they lose a player.
I broke somewhere at what point? Sorry, it broke up.
Halfway through season 1.
Ah, gotcha.
There's
that's a shame.
Yeah, there's one, and there was. I think that there was. He was having some personal issues, and they had to make a decision to remove him. But I remember when they came across the corpse of his character, and I was like, well, I guess he's not coming back.
Aw.
But I think they did it. They were trying to do it out of respect. They weren't doing it out of mean. But I think they were trying to do it to give closure to that, and maybe so that people weren't ever going to say, "Hey, is." But it was a respectful moment. And I remember one of the players being really, really sad, and showing love in that moment. But I can only imagine that's got to be tough. That's the dude that was the original drummer from the Beatles, right? That you don't know what his name is because he wasn't a Beatle. A lot of people do, but you wouldn't know what his name is. So, but yeah, I can only imagine. Good.
Were you talking about? I missed the reference there. You're saying something
Beatles.
about the Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles. They had a drummer. I think his name was Ken Best or something like that. I'm getting that wrong. And before Ringo, and he had some health issues.
So you're saying this guy looked like him or something?
No, the Beatles.
Oh.
The original Beatles drummer was not Ringo Starr. It was this other guy. And
you're just making him. Okay,
and he had health issues. And so this was really, really, really early on. And I don't even know if they were named the Beatles at that point. They may have been named the Silver Crickets or whatever it was they were called. And so early on, this guy, isn't part of the band, and Ringo is, and then they become the Beatles. And it's got to be like, I don't know, psychologically, I think that's got to be an insanely hard thing to deal with, right? That you were part of something that you're not part of, and then now that thing without you blows up. That's got to be a tough one to stomach. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying here is that, you had somebody that left this, and it becomes a phenomenon, right? So, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, it looks like he... Oh, I don't know the validity of this, so do your own fact-finding.
Yeah, do your own fact-finding. I've seen a video where he talked about... He's made a couple of videos where he's talked about it. And originally, I think that they were saying that he was trying to do his own thing on Twitch, and Geek and Sundry was finding it to be a conflict of interest, so that's why they split. And then it seemed that it was something more serious than that, maybe.
Yeah, this mentions rumors of cancer and drug addiction. I don't know. But again, this is just something I clicked on.
But then I also saw this thing where he had a video with a couple of friends and that he was on there, and he was talking about that he thought he was being the victim of gaslighting, and gaslighting is when you intentionally try to make somebody feel like they're crazy by changing things on them and doing like these psychological manipulation. Gaslighting occurs. But a lot of people who think that they're being gaslighted, I think, could be a symptom of mental issues as well, because it's a paranoia. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what the situation is there, but I'm just trying to be sympathetic of if I was this person, no matter what my mental health state was, I would have a hard time being the person that was the part of Critical Role that they thought they would be better without. And then I think in the second season, I think they've added some people as well. But did you say you had some other things that you wanted to talk about as well, Randy? Looks like you might be doing some offline research there.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Anyway, interesting.
How much time do you?
Okay, so
how much time are you? Do I have you for? If I and the reason I
enough for
ask,
us to finish up what I have in mind. What have you got in mind?
if it's going to be enough time for me to disassemble the board, then I'll start to disassemble the board. But if not, then I'm going to leave it because I don't want to do it half.
Oh, how long is it going to take for you to disassemble?
Half hour, maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna do half hour. I do have a lot of work to do, and I still have to deal with a lot of stuff from the freezer.
And I can, I can continue this
so-
conversation over from the computer too. I can start working on my thumbnail, so maybe I'll just do that. I'll work over here on the computer, and you can keep talking.
Whatever works.
Okay, yeah, let me do that because my back is killing me actually. So
Yeah, mine's. I think dealing with the freezer, I guess, and I threw my back out a bit. Yeah, so my upright freezer died.
Oh
I didn't notice
yeah.
it. We actually there was something funky going on with the power when it was really hot. The last day it got really hot. The lights and fan in the bathroom stopped working properly, and they were being really weird and intermittent. And then the air conditioning was having problems, and then it just kind of spread to different places from there. And then I think I did some work on the lines outside where the electricity runs into the house, and it seemed to get better after that. So I don't know if it was their problem. I think that probably at some point it was. Something wasn't quite right there, and it caused like an electrical surge that kind of fried some things. I think it fried our freezer, but unfortunately, can't find the paperwork for it to see. I'm pretty sure it's not still. I'm pretty sure the extended warranties run out, but don't know. Can't find paperwork. So, and also can't prove that it was like the electric company's fault or anything, because how do you prove that? So I got a upright freezer full of food, multiple briskets and full hams and bags of fish and all kinds of stuff that are all thawed and cannot be refrozen. So I gotta doing a lot of cooking, a lot of cooking and a lot of eating. I imagine I'll gain quite a few pounds here in the next couple of days.
there was an episode of Big Bang Theory, and one of the characters' moms would always make food, and that character passes away, and so they had all this freezer of all these meals that his mom had made, right? And he's like, and so what he does is he just has a big like smorgasbord sort of situation where everybody comes over and they're eating all this, and it's like, I never thought about that. That would be really tough, right? Because you know
it's the last bit of comfort that they left you.
Yeah, it's like, this is the last time I'll ever eat my mom's mac and cheese, and it's just like, man, that would be tough. When do you ever make the decision that now is the day that the last time I'm going to eat my mom's mac and cheese or something? It's like, that would be rough. Oh, and Tater, I don't give a crap about how your back feels. That's why I didn't ask. So, how is your back, sir? I was thinking about
He's taking all those muscle relaxers.
Let me switch my microphone here so I don't have to yell. I was thinking about and I'll switch it on Discord too, so I don't have to yell on Discord. Tater, because I was watching some an Adam Savage One Day build, and he was working on a cart that wasn't stable, and he was fixing it up. I was thinking about the woodworking stuff that Tater does here. But anyways, Randy, please continue.
What are we doing tomorrow? Is it going to be D&D tomorrow, or is it going to be movie night tomorrow? At the moment, I voted for movie night, so I have a little extra time to read some stuff about Bard and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm down with that actually.
Okay.
I'll make a note that tomorrow will be movie night.
And so what movie? So we had mentioned Idiocracy, which I still have not seen. So I've got a ton of other possibilities, but
Idiocracy is a
that's
great
it.
one. Yeah, I'm down with Idiocracy. I
Okay.
think that's super solid.
And you have that, right?
If not, I will. I'll work towards
Okay.
getting that.
All right. I've got a few things to show before and like intermission and pre-show little clips for let's go to the movie sort of things.
Okay.
I found this really crazy one.
Let me hold on.
I was trying to find like things you didn't know, but they apparently don't have a video for that movie. Thought that'd be cool to watch afterward.
All right, hold on.
Other than that,
she is. There. Okay. So I just let everybody know that movie night tomorrow. I need more prep time for next session.
cool.
Thank you for the reminder on that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah, Idiocracy.
I was looking up different.
I was just mentioning Idiocracy yesterday because Idiocracy, once you see it, we'll be able to talk about it in conjunction with Wall-E. There's a lot of similarities.
Gotcha. I've only seen that once when it first came out in the theater. So.
You know, I've only seen it once as well. It's always been so expensive to buy, and that I've never found a real good deal on it. There. This should be a little easier to hear me on Discord now. Switch the microphones. All right.
YouTube did this thing where they'll just like play the thumbnail as like a preview, but then it adds that as a watched video to your history.
Huh. Yeah, that seems funky.
Yeah. Okay. I was watching a bunch of things about different unusual instruments and things like that. Found some cool ones I'd never seen or heard before.
Oh yeah, actually, it would help me. Do you have any idea what kind of instrument that you want?
Not entirely, and that's what I need to keep reading, like the different, because I could have various things. I think just the Bard alone gives me 3 different instruments.
Proficiencies in 3 different instruments.
I mean, I think it actually tells me that I'm carrying 3 different instruments, but yeah.
Usually, a lot of times, if you have an instrument, but you don't have a proficiency in it, it's like, okay, I could have a piano. Don't mean I can play a piano. You know what I mean? So I would be surprised if they just gave you those instruments without a matching proficiency.
Yeah, but there's the thing too. It's like with the kid element added in, the soul power and everything, with that being tied in, it's like if it's like the soul and then tied to the music, so it's like the inner. So it's part of his being. Does he imbue his soul into it? And that's why is there an issue with having proficiency with an instrument? Like, does he need can he really only play, or can he play any instrument just naturally? Just from a character standpoint. My thing is like anything is an instrument, and the real music is inside the soul, and everything has a soul, everything has a music.
My initial DM reaction to that would be that, I would say that you would be proficient in the things that you're proficient, but where you wouldn't normally be even able to play an instrument that you weren't proficient in, you would be able to make rolls to be able to perform that, because you're like you're saying, it's, the music's within you, and the conduit, how familiar you are with a conduit is going to have some effect. So it isn't like you're just going to be able to pick up something. Well, I mean, you might with a roll, you may pick up an instrument.
That's it. There's a thing called improvised weapons is a thing in D&D, and you can actually be proficient in improvised weapons. So I was thinking like improvised, improvised musical instruments could be a cool element for role play.
Yeah, I agree.
I have a lot of ideas actually. I was like, the problem is creating, because most of what we've done so far has been kind of murder hobo in a way. Like it's going and get stuff done, like going, you're killing stuff. It's not a whole lot of like, okay, now you're gonna have a restful situation and taking those times for like role play as a major component.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, let's have a camp. We need to actually rest here for an hour, and what happens during this time. So that so and so is talking to this person. What are they talking about? You know, and having elements of possibilities for role play during that. So having that open up potential for additional role playing. So I had a lot of potential ideas for that sort of thing, to try to work with other players and include them and try to make a group thing happen in those sort of random situations, if that was a thing that we would be doing.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. Yep. I'm doing pixel editing, so I'm focusing. So if I don't respond,
Cool.
it's not because of a negative reaction to what you're saying. It's just because I'm focusing on pixel editing.
So I need to finish reading stuff in the manual and compiling a list of everything it tells me that I have, and then seeing if what, if anything, I need to ask you about adjusting or anything like that.
Yeah,
And
because
see if you're on board.
and the thing is I'm trying to, from one of your items, I want one of your special items to be an instrument, and that's why one of the reasons why I kind of want to know. And it's like, you can be proficient in multiple things, but I didn't know if you have one thing. But if I make an instrument, I mean, I'll make it something silly just because. I don't know. Maybe I'll give you a magic penny whistle or something. But we could always just make it be whatever. I'm willing to work with.
Yeah, there were a couple ideas I was playing around with the trinkets and things. One being a music box, and then like if I'm a rock gnome, then I can have little mechanical minions.
Mm.
And so they could like, well, I don't want to give. I'm
Yeah.
not going to give any more away. I got lots of ideas.
Yep, I knew you would have no shortage of ideas, so that's good.
I think I was looking at those and I came across the different types of instruments and stuff. And I sent you one of the marble machines, the Wintergatan marble machine videos. As where it's just insane. Apparently he makes all that stuff by hand. The intricate marble machines.
That's cool.
That he has are like so many different instruments that he's incorporated into one, which is run by hand crank and marbles.
Yeah, that's nuts.
It's insane.
Yeah. I love things like that. That was one of the things I did like when I was at COSI. They had like a magnetic wall, and it had all these gears and things, and you could make your own marble machine because you could move the components wherever you wanted.
Oh, that's in the new COSI?
Yeah. And it was like, that was one of the things. I think that was one where we had done one of the adult night COSIs, and it was one of the things that
cool.
I enjoyed was that one.
That sounds fun. Yeah, I still have to get to the new COSI. The new COSI, it's 20 years old now, but
yeah, exactly.
The old one though, they had in the lobby, they had the equivalent of a marble time clock, I think, but it was like blue rubber balls.
Yeah, it was racket balls.
Yeah.
And it would shoot it up. It would shoot it up, and it would come through a net and go through like this roller coaster thing.
Yeah, those things are cool.
Yeah, I've always like.
My grandfather had a little mechanical marble clock that sat on his like tabletop size, or like nightstand size kind of thing.
That's cool.
I was always fascinated by that.
All right, let me see if I can zoom out here.
I saw a video about how to use an astrolabe. There's the British Museum has a lot of cool videos where they'll have their different curators. They call it Curator's Corner. So they'll have different curators from different aspects of the museum do videos. And this particular one is about an astrolabe. Fascinating. All that goes into that, the different things you can do with it.
So the astrolabe, isn't
really
that the thing? Is that the thing that they had like on a ship that helped them with like navigating, and it looks kind of like a globe?
This one is not a globe. This one is, well, it depends how you. It's not a sphere. It's a disc, and supposedly he says you're supposed to hang it. It's supposed to be hanging. And there's all kinds of little adjustments and stuff you can make. There's like 5 different there are different wheels that go together, and there's like 5 different discs that form one part of the wheel that can be switched out. There's astrology stuff on the back and different components to match stuff up with like the horizon level and the angle of the sun, and that will give you one reading, which will then identify, like if you take that reading and then switch it over to the other side, that will give you a starting point to get other readings from that. So it can be used for anything. It's basically a calendar and a clock all in one, so it can be used for, and a location, like it's your GPS in a way too. So it can be used for anything that you want to like mark the date for, or find out the right date for, or the time, or location. Gotcha. It's really intricate. He says really to fully get the benefit of this, you need to be like a master, but he showed you like a minor version of how to use it.
That's crazy. Yeah, you see the devices like that, and it's like, man, I wouldn't have any idea what this thing is even used for. Wouldn't even know where to begin.
And he said it was made back in the time where like astrology was the science and astronomy was around to serve astrology.
Huh. That's funny.
So like it was more important for them to figure out what the universe was doing to them, like who it was going to make them be.
It's more important for them to know what the zodiac sign of the ship is. We're never going to get there. This boat is a Sagittarius.
But the level, like what they knew and how they knew it and the tools they made to figure this is freaking fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
The level of ingenuity and stuff, and like the intelligence represented in these items, the engineering, that's insane. It's so amazing. Things that we take so for granted. Like, oh, that happened in the past. Oh, it must have been really stupid. No, really not. There's a lot more stupid people now, perhaps, than there were then, just from population.
Yeah. I had taken this class where I was just trying to max out my schedule. And so I'd taken this one class, and it was like a math class. But it was astronomy class, but it dealt with math. And I went there, and he was talking about all this stuff, and it was like, I vaguely understand what this guy's even talking about. And then he gave us like a worksheet. It was like, oh, he wants me to actually be able to do that thing that he just did? No. But it was like...
Wrong class.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously missed a prereq.
Yeah, I think it was something. It was like, So I only sat in
I've had dreams like that before.
I've only sat on the first one, but it was fascinating because it was talking about how they figured out how big the moon was, like in the days of ancient Greece, and
all that stuff is fascinating.
And it's like and it's like how accurate they were is pretty amazing, you know. Yeah. some interesting stuff. All right, here. Let's see here.
What's up, Jeebs? It says Holy Basement.
Holy Basement. Yeah, hey, Jeebs. Good to have you here. I'm just doing some photo editing. We were doing a recap of our D&D session. And so our board is over here. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have Randy that joins me here remotely.
Said, is that a doggo? Is Cooper in there?
Yeah, we got. Yep, it is.
What's up, Cooper?
Hi, puppies. You come up here? Come over here. Would you come over here? Hi.
How's he been doing? Is he feeling good?
Yeah, he's doing all right. He likes having a brother, so that's been really nice. Huh. Who's the best boy? You see? Who's the best one? But I am. I'm the best. I'm the all-time bestest.
Oh, Stretch.
Stretch. Here's your big bone. His brother is a 100-pound German Shepherd, so he brings stuff down here and keeps it hidden down here. And last night he came up with this bone. He was like, oh, look what I have that you don't have. 100-pound German Shepherd brother. It's like, are you really taunting?
Your mic is really light.
Oh, yeah. He's just he likes to taunt his brother with his bones. I forget that when I'm over there that mic isn't the mic that's live. Oh, I'm so
Sorry to hear
sorry.
that, buddy.
Ah, man.
That's never fun.
We have soft spots for animals. Our furry families members. That is one of the toughest things. How old was he? Oh. Yeah, it's tough. Before I had Cooper, I had an 18-year-old cat that we had to put down. And yeah, an animal that long, it seems like you're going to have them forever.
He was a 12 years old
Aw.
Aussie Shepherd.
Oh, I bet.
Beautiful dog.
Yeah, I bet. Mm. All right, here.
They're the ones that make really good sheep dogs, aren't they? Yeah, Australian Shepherd.
High energy,
Nice.
I would imagine. Probably a higher energy dog.
Very intelligent.
Yeah, very intelligent. Probably high energy. Wants to do its shepherding. So it wants to go out and herd. Let's see here. And then I'm just working on doing some photo editing here. You can
Plenty of D&D.
I'm working on a thumbnail for our video here. Let me see here.
I need to get ready to bow out here and to bring together the pets and music. I saw some YouTube videos where a guy is playing a piano and he's got the top open. It's an upright piano, so he's got like where you would normally put your music. He's got that open, and the cat's laying there over top of the bars. So when he's playing, the cats are getting a massage. It's really funny.
And yeah, Geebs or Jeebs, we kind of do it all, man. We make stuff, we handcraft stuff, we paint stuff, we buy stuff, we repurpose stuff. Like we kind of do it all. We craft terrain here, but we'll buy stuff and repurpose stuff, buy stuff at secondhand shops. So we use a little bit of everything, but there is more than a little bit. Almost everything gets touched in one way or another, even if it's just painting. And sorry, Randy, if I walked over what you were saying. I was trying to read over the chat.
You're fine.
Read up there on the chat. But yep, we play D&D. We're gonna have we've been doing a recap video. Just started, got the first one edited. Although it's not the first D&D session, but the first recap done. But I like to get some friends and try it. I have a 3D printer. Oh yeah. You can. I have stuff that's 3D printed. Let's see here. There's a couple things probably handy that were 3D printed. And when I moved, I didn't get a chance to set up my 3D printer again. But like, these are 3D printed. And this is 3D printed. Now with the resin printers, it's like what I'm seeing people be able to do with like the 3D models. Like the miniatures and stuff. But this was a 3D print line to it. Yeah, with the resin printers, I'm seeing that people are really able to do some amazing stuff with miniature printing. Because where you just weren't getting that fidelity with the. See, this is another one, 3D printed. So we do stuff like that, and then we do stuff where, like, these are just made out of foam. Things like that. We do tiles, kind of standard foam tiles. These are handmade, and they're made out of pink insulation foam. Yeah. But yeah, those resin printers, man, they can really do some nice stuff with those. It's really interesting, I go to a local nerd shop where that sells D&D stuff, board games, and I've been going to that shop probably since I was, oh man, I mean like early 80s.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Welcome back.
There we go. You were really light on.
I was over at the other table.
Twitch.
Yeah, sorry, I was on the other. I keep forgetting that mic isn't the live mic. 2 mics. And,
Okay.
but yeah, I was just talking
about.
about.
Now, so.
Oh yeah, right on, man. Thanks so much for hopping in. I was just talking about some of the things that we 3D print and stuff like that. So, and just talking about that, it's an amazing time for 3D for miniatures because of the combination of 3D sculpting and 3D printing has made it to where it can become lots of options. But anyways, Randy, if you're gonna hop off, I will do the same. I want to thank so much for Jeebs for hopping in and participating in the chat. If you ain't hit the buttons that matter, please consider doing so. We'd love to have you back here. And we do this every day, noontime Eastern. So we're always around here doing stuff. Mr. Mustard, hey, thanks so much for the follow. Welcome to the Q Continuum, man. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much. That means a ton. Mr. Mustard, thanks for always hanging out. And Shads, man, thanks for coming in here and chat with me. Mustard,
Thanks everybody for listening.
Mustard, if you have any availability for playing Rocket Leagues, let us know in the Discords, and we'll try to do that. So, thanks everybody so much. Randy, you have anything any parting words you want to leave with the peoples?
I don't know if I probably won't be able to join Rocket Leagues for a while. We'll see.
Oh yeah,
I will if I can.
Okay.
I got a lot going on right now. So.
Understood, brother. Yep.
All right.
Okay.
Love y'all.
Love you. And
be kind to yourselves and one another, everybody.
Yep. And like the doctor's promise, never cowardly, never cruel, never give up, never give in. Let's hear some of that funky outro music. Boom.